Going to look at conversion rate optimization. I'm going to go through some analysis and best practice, some tools, tests, and some mistakes on conversion rate optimization. So we've seen mobile plays a part. We've seen that people doing their mobile research often very early on, and the conversions are happening later on. One of the tools that we use internally, and you can use within AdWords, having a look at the segmentation by device. So what we're looking to do is really look at what is tablet doing, what is computers doing, and what are mobile doing, and having a look at the different performance factors from those. And then we have something called a mobile bid adjustment. So we increase or decrease bids on mobile. And earlier on I showed you that we were decreasing bids to get the same position. We're probably going to be taking a strategy to start increasing bids on mobile, bearing in mind all the information we know about the way people are converting and cross-device as well. Let's just look at this as an example. This is showing impression share across an account. So we've got the same keywords, budget's actually slightly up, and we compared January 2014 to January 2015. And you can see there that the impressions, so the change on the right-hand side, are showing a drop in impressions, so a drop in the number of people searching for these keywords, and it made no sense to us. There's more people searching, we've got the same keywords, and we've got enough budget. Even our positions were more or less the same. But what we noticed that when we delve down a bit deeper, there's less traffic on desktop. So the desktop traffic had dropped by 35%. And our mobile traffic was the same. There's more people searching online. And why? Because our position was still 2.5. So because the position was 2.5, on mobile we were getting less eyeballs than we were getting when we were on desktop. And there was less people searching on desktop. Since we kind of once we figured that out and we changed that, we were able to get the results on this particular account. These are kind of some typical conversion rates that we're seeing on display search and remarketing. So display converts really well on mobile, especially with the targeting around the how-to phrases, and search 10% remarketing 5%. Now you can use those as kind of a guidelines of display converts twice as much as search, for example, and that's because of the mobile traffic that we're able to generate from the display sites, which I explained earlier. So looking at some best practices, you want to make sure you've got a click to call button on your website. Not just the phone number, an actual button that says click here to call. So when they press it, it starts dialing out from your mobile phone. You want to think about decreasing the amount of content, but not at the expense of clarity. So make sure you've got enough content on there. Consider that mobile, even though it may seem like you're putting less on there, it still may load slowly. You really need to look at that because some big images can take a long time to load. And the connection, still people, 4Gs, especially on EE like I am, it's very hard to get connection half the time. Think about the goals that you want a mobile user to take. It can be different to your desktop user. It might be a different goal completely. And if you have a carousel of images, often if you have a responsive site, you'll end up with these images being stacked on top of each other. So if you have a banner, all you'll have is a bunch of these images, and it's going to take a lot of scrolls for someone to get to their content. So this is an example of a click to call to action. Those are the type of buttons you want in place for someone to be able to call from your mobile site, and not just the phone number which they can press, but you want it to make it really clear so they can press the button. Think about designing for mobile first on some of your landing pages. Think about bullet points, so you can section off the text. Make sure it loads quickly. Make sure the goal is easy and quick. So in this case, get your free investor report. Have less fluff, less information that you're probably packing on the desktop site for your mobile site. This site, in fact, was copied by a competitor. So we'll take that as a compliment because it was working so well in this industry. One thing we've noticed from some of the bigger brands, they've all started putting their menus in the footer. So if you go to Amazon and you look at the top, you won't really see an option for you to be able to find other pages. But if you scroll right to the bottom, on the right-hand side, those are the pages that they have in place. So they've got lots of different options for you to have a look at. So just think about the top, the mobile screen, the top bit's the most important. If you can avoid moving any distractions for them, get them focused on what you want them to do, and push everything else down to the bottom. You can still have the navigation items, but just move them down. Here you'll see next to product details, you've got email product. For e-commerce sites, and even you can do this on an information site, even if you've got some product on there, having the function that says email me this product or email me this information has worked wonders for a lot of sites. So we've seen this on other sites, we've tried it ourselves, and it does make a massive difference. They've got a product, they're able to email it themselves. When they get back on their other device, again, so we're talking about tablet, we're talking about their desktop, whenever they're at home, they would have an email in place. And now you can customize that email then to have a product code in there, again, a voucher code that we talked about before, and track it back. And so that's something that's really easy to implement on the mobile site. We should be added, even if it's a case of email me an offer on this, or something, or sign up to something. and get them to do something really quickly. So you need to think about secondary goals. So request a callback, as an example, download a white paper, visits to location pages, in-store offers, time on site, number of pages viewed. All of these metrics need to come into play for us to understand what's happening on mobile. We need to make sure we're measuring them properly. So encourage you all to just go away and think about your primary goal on mobile. What do you want people to do on your mobile site? Think about that first, and then go on your mobile site and see if they can do that or not. And then think about your secondary goals. And then design your site in that format that everything's designed for your primary goal, but you're able to get the secondary goals out of it as well. Some of the tools that we can use to help improve conversion rates. One is a product called Hotjar. It's pop-up surveys and overlays. This is Hotjar tool. It's fairly inexpensive to add to your site. What it does is it shows actual visitor data. So we've been using kind of predictive eye tracking studies for a long time. This is actually what people are doing when they come to your site. And you'll see there, all the different bits on there are where people are moving their mouse around. And you can see different things like where they move their mouse and also what they try and click. You'll be really surprised that what you think is just an image that people are going around trying to click it, thinking they can actually find something from that point. So this is a great way. Put this on your site for a couple of weeks, you'll be able to get some really interesting information. And the other thing, which is actually probably the most important part or the most valuable part of the Hotjar tool, is it shows you the heat maps according to scroll. So it shows you the red bit is 100% of visitors, and then it shows you as it cools down. So you're able to see what portion of your page people are viewing. So you'll find that only 20% are getting to probably half your content, and most of it's at the top. And once you see where that barrier is, you're able to understand, well, I either need to make my copy more interesting so they'll scroll down, or I need to get all my, especially my primary goal, into the top, and maybe even the secondary goal. So to kind of increase leads on mobile using the tools, you need to put the heat maps in place. Have a look at some playback, watch visitors moving around. You do this all through Hotjar. Funnels as well, if you have different steps of process, you can see where they're dropping out of the different forms. And most importantly, why they do it. Why are they on your site? What do they find difficult? In Hotjar again, so it's just very easy to add on straight from there. Little tool that says if you could change one thing in this guide, what would it be? So there's all kinds of questions that you can ask to try and get information from the people who are coming to your site about what they liked and what they didn't like. Here are some kind of questions that you could ask. So, why did you come to the site today? Were you able to accomplish what you came to the site to do? Where did you first hear about us? How likely are you to refer us to a friend? If you didn't purchase, what stopped you? You can just change these questions, go in, review your account, and start seeing what people are finding difficult and why they came to your site. And it's really easy to implement. We can do it. Your web developers can do it. I think the basic package is probably like $30 or something like that to get started. So it's not much. Within a month, you're going to get loads of valuable data. We use overlays as another way to improve conversion rates. So this is where you go to exit. You see that little mouse scroller in the top left. So as you go to exit the site, come up with an overlay. What we're finding is that we're typically seeing an increase in conversions of 1 to 3% when we've got some of these overlays running. Now, those overlays aren't going to be converted sales, but the traffic that was thinking about leaving your site, you're able to get 1 or 3% to leave them some more details, so leave their email address with you potentially. Here's an example that we use for a client, which pushes them into a free meditation kit offer. That's an overlay as people are going to exit the site. If you're going to get their email address through overlays, then you need to make sure you've got a system to build a relationship with them. I know some of the guys in here have some long autoresponder campaigns, which I'd encourage everyone to do. It's the easiest way is through personal behavior, through automated emails. So if people are reading different content or clicking on different links, start sending them different content, not the same 10 emails that you might have in place. It's time to analyze who are coming to site and what they want, not what they're doing. And give them relevant ongoing content and ask them for action. So if you're gonna put content in these email responders, send them off to somewhere, tell them to go somewhere so you can start tagging them and understanding their interest levels. And remember that text is better than designed emails. It's easier to get started, it's easier for you to write. You don't have to have an agency writing all these, designing lovely emails. Personal text-based emails work really well. Some other tools you can use, the Google Webmaster Tools will tell you what Google thinks of your site and whether it's mobile friendly. There's a Google Almo report, which will tell you the mobile weighting, so how important is mobile on your site, in your industry. That's something we need to request, but we can get that for you if needed. And you can also check how they look at it. There's lots of other sites. Ready.mobi is quite an easy one to use. You can go in, put your site in, and it will show you what your site looks like on different devices. So different mobile phones, it will show you tablets, it will show you Macs. It will also tell you what errors you have on your site. So there you can see, and this is our own site, so we've got 7 major fails, 6 minor fails, and 25 passes. So this we can go in and start addressing those major fails. And you're very rarely going to find someone who's got everything that's done right. That's quite a technical part, but you could run that and then pass that on to your web developer and say, look, could you look at these and see which ones you can improve. If you're going to do that and use the Webmaster Tools, you're going to be able to get your site ranked organically a little bit better, but it also means the experience you're going to be providing to your customers or people come to your site is going to be much better than if you don't. We have our own landing page system that we've done. We try and aim for an average of a 10% conversion rate. That's what we're looking to get. So we've got lots of templates we've designed. We put custom designs out. And what we're trying to do is use proven page structures. We're trying to get live quickly. So if you've got a website and that's not responsive, we can build these pages really quickly and get them live. We could use custom designs. We do A/B testing, overlays, eye tracking. So all these things I've talked about is a system that we have in place to try and get landing pages to start converting close as we can to 10%. This is an example of a test we ran. So there's about 85% of traffic is mobile on this site here. What we found, a lot of people were dropping off halfway down the page. So what we looked to do was reducing the size of the page even further by reducing the content. And what it managed to do was increase the conversion rate by 14%. This just gives you an example here. So what we could see was that a lot of people were pulling out earlier on. So we needed to bring our call to action much higher up rather than where it was before. You can't really see it there, but it's just there on the left. So you can see in there that we brought that up a lot higher than when it originally was on this page, which was much lower. And that was using that scrolling technology from Hotjar. Another one is matching your ad copy to the page that you're sending it to. And it's something that's quite obvious, but you'd be surprised that sometimes you might change an ad and not change the website. Just having something here which is free champagne with every tow bar fitted in spring. You can see there we have that the ad on the right hand side, which is the remarketing ad, and then we have the landing page. Just by having that reinforcement of that offer on the page led to a 33% increase in the number of conversions and a 12% increase in the conversion rate. Now you might have that offer somewhere else on the site. It might be lower down, it might be on the contact page, but we need to make sure it's really prominent on the page we're sending people back to. You can even have a landing page just for your remarketing campaigns. We have that quite a lot where we have campaigns running. We just build a separate remarketing page that's set outside of the website, just used for us to get the traffic, whether it's from YouTube, display, search, send them all back into one page that we can monitor and get a real good conversion rate out. There's 4 mistakes on A/B testing, and really what you want to do is look at not changing too many things at once and picking one thing to change. Picking one thing and changing it. Not looking at previous data to create a hypothesis. So using the data to support why you think it will have an increase in conversions. Not letting the test run long enough. We need to wait for some statistical relevance, and you need to let it run. You need to see the data. You need to see is there a big enough differential in the conversion rate for you to actually stand behind it and think, yeah, this change has actually worked or hasn't worked. And often when we're doing an A/B test, we find that people want to focus on the design rather than the conversion problem. So sometimes you can keep the design exactly the same and just change the copy in the call to action button or the headline or what's above the form or the form fields. You don't actually need to go around changing the design too much, and it's kind of picking those small things first. And then when you've made a few changes, you can then think about changing the design, knowing that you've worked on all the little elements that can get a quicker improvement. Because changing something in a button can take, will be done in a few minutes and live and tested, it doesn't take long. Whereas if you start changing the design, you open yourself up to a much longer process. So that concludes this session.